That's why I found it really difficult to
Number 4.
tell.
Refined.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get to that. So this assembly, so this is like you have everything in their own parts. You have everything taken apart. Right? You're not gonna take apart the hard drive completely, but you're gonna have the pins removed off of it, for instance. And you're going to have a pile of transformers, you're going to have all your copper there, you're going to end up in a pile of semiconductors, you're going to have a pile of old DVD, floppy drives, you're going to have a pile of LCD monitors with their circuit boards removed, right? So 4 is like, you're getting rid of everything. So you're going to be setting up, actually set up, 4 is set up, refining, plus sell what you can't find, and what, like transformers and hard drives. Hard drives, I think they have, or at least the old ones had palladium. Palladium's very expensive, but palladium, you can't really recover palladium. It's alright, maybe you can, but it's like hard to do yourself. I don't really know too much about that. Another thing actually I forgot about in assembly,
That's more
PCBs.
expensive than gold.
Yeah, it's more expensive than
If you
gold.
get a used coffee machine, there's
And
a
I
thermo-
think there's a lot of that in China.
Yeah, there's a thermocouple in it. Thermocouple contains silver platinum.
Thermocouples, yeah, various things. Yeah, thermo. What's palladium known for? What's it good for? Strength or?
Well, it's just expensive material.
It has to have some quality.
Yeah, don't ask. That's expensive. That's it.
Yeah, so the reason they use gold is because gold isn't a better conductor at all. Silver is the best conductor. Then comes, I can't remember, but gold is like the 3rd or 4th or something like that. It's up there.
Yeah.
But gold is like, if you leave gold out, like you have a gold chain or a gold ring or whatever, you leave that out, it's not going to go turn any different color. It's just
We
gonna
call
be
it Chinese, a gold is a yellow gold, but so platinum, we call it a white gold.
Platinum?
White gold,
Platinum
white gold,
also.
yellow gold.
No,
Yeah, white gold is more expensive than yellow than the blue gold.
Platinum is very expensive. So we use
Platinum is very expensive. Why we don't use in the camping the platinum?
And the first,
Are
before
we talking about
I don't
same
think-
metal? PT, chemical design.
before use, you have to check the current how
Somebody
fast
enjoy
or
your
fast
chemical. You know that thing.
in between material.
Know that thing.
Then you can use.
Oh,
Platinum is very expensive.
I'm
yeah.
not sure what you would use.
We don't use it, we just return it to the jewelries and the thermocouple makers.
It's only,
Oh,
There's
some material in military, we use a platinum, but
for what? What purpose? Why platinum?
some air what's the name?
Planes.
Some plane is military. We use a platinum and titanium for back the frequency, to the ground. When you find see a plane in the weather, you send the frequency and this frequency back to ground.
Okay.
We use titanium platinum for what's the name?
Oh, it's dispersing the signal.
Yes, for separate the and
Orbs. So, yeah, okay, so.
frequency and error can be in the ground.
So is that absorbing the frequency? If it absorbs it, it doesn't radiate it back out, or?
No, you just
Bounce back the signal?
I think
signal is a
Disperses
back
that
the
thing.
signal.
So it doesn't-
Is a cutting. Signal is cutting.
So it's medical use for the radar system.
Yeah, and we can. See
Yeah, I'm not sure that's
the-
electronics thing then, but
In
yeah.
a weather, yeah.
Okay. So, what was I? Yeah, so gold, so they have these pin connectors with gold on them. A lot of times they don't really need gold on them. A lot of times, like take HDMI for instance. You don't really need gold connector on an HDMI cable, but they do put them on it, and they mark these products up. Like you look at it, you say, oh, it's gold plated, like, oh, it must be good, right? So you're paying for the gold, but you're also paying a premium on that. You're not just paying for the gold. They put gold on it, that you're paying for the cost of everything and putting the gold on it, very little bit. Then you're also paying extra, right? It's a marketing thing. but it does prevent against corrosion. It, like, depending on how thick it is, the thickness they use, it's just is not going to corrode. So, good example of what is copper, and you look at it, you think it's copper, but copper is like the Statue of Liberty is made out of copper. You guys know what the Statue of Liberty looks like, right?
Yeah.
It's made out of copper.
Yeah, yeah.
So when they first had it, and you looked at it, when they first had it, it looked like copper. You see copper, and over time, it actually changes a variety of colors. It's really cool. So you can like Google Statue of Liberty over time, and now it's green, right? It's like lime, not lime green, but
Doesn't
like
it erode?
It's like an
No, it's
acid.
oxidation.
oxidization.
It's
oxidation.
It's not corrosion. It's
So a
oxidization.
lot of roofs in the parlor buildings used to be made of copper and they would go green.
I thought it eroded.
No, it's not a roof.
I
That
think
means
steel
also-
would.
Metallurgical level in that country or in that piece of land is low. And more modern one, they use the cast iron.
Because the thing
Cast
is,
iron, the smelting point is higher.
but it's the
And
statue
the
of
metallurgical is harder. You win the iron and copper.
What isn't the Statue of Liberty on like a separate island or something?
Oh,
How are you
right.
saying?
Liberty
How are
Island.
you? How are you saying that?
It was
the
made of
elevation is
France,
lower?
though,
That
I
doesn't make
think.
There
sense.
is.
Doesn't make sense. Because it's on a separate island, right? And you're saying the elevation is lower.
Okay. So where was I? Where did I leave off? There's a bunch of
Number
different
four.
things. Yeah, so setup refining itself. So well, yeah, let me go back to this assembly. There's different like parts on a circuit board that you can take off, like tantalum capacitors, for example. You can't really refine your tantalum. It's a very expensive. I think it's a complex mineral, and it's a lot of this is also speculation. Like if the price goes up, then you have tantalum capacitors that are very, gold goes up, silver goes up. You have components that are, there's certain components that have a lot of silver in them, so you hold on to them. And then capacitors, certain capacitors would be tantalum, but you wouldn't refine that. You would sell that. Once you have enough, you'd sell that. You wouldn't refine that. So, anyways, on to the next step of setup and refining. So setting up is like setting up your chemical thing, however you're going to do it. And I don't really know too much about that yet. I did a lot of research. I'm still doing a lot of research into that. I think, what's the word? Reverse electroplating probably be the simplest way, because then you don't have to worry about different things. Would be better in different methods. Nitric acid, and then like washing things with nitric acid, removing a bunch of base metals, and then using like aqua regia, which is nitric acid and hydrochloric acid. And there's other things like hydrogen peroxide. Some you can even use vinegar for removing the plate, like removing the back end of the gold fingers. Like specifically for gold fingers, if you put them in vinegar for after over a week, the pins, the gold part will separate. And then there's a bunch of different other methods and whatnot, but I'm not really too sure about that. And then 5, and then sell what you can't refine, and after you've gotten enough, you sell. And then 5 is actual refining. So this is sort of like my outline of e-waste recovery. And then refining is basically once set up refine.
Refining, how do you spell?
I actually spelled refining.
R-E-F.
Grinding.
I'm wondering what is raining.
Refining.
I thought it's gonna have a thunderstorm.
Refine. What, I don't know, it's Latin for something probably.
He's new. He's
But
new
this
to
is
Canada.
the 7% refining includes knowing what you're doing. Because otherwise, and then I didn't talk about one thing. I see chip, integrated circuits, but you just call them chips, right? And then there's processors, the bigger ones, and then there's like small ones. Processors, sometimes, a lot of times you can just sell them on eBay. You can, there's a variety of different processors, chips, a wide variety. Some people will be like, all right, so this is how you do refining. First you get sulfuric acid. So it's literally boiling sulfuric acid. So you don't, right? Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna get sulfuric acid and boil it. I'll just sell this stuff once I have enough. And then anybody who's, I mean, unless you're like Bill, you go out and set up. Even then, like boiling sulfuric acid, it's kind of scary. Cyanide, boiling cyanide, like yeah. So just like kind of like sticking to simple things until you know what you're doing, and then maybe you can just hold on to it and not sell it. And eventually, over time, you'll be like, oh, okay, this is how I refine this, and then you know, in refining number, you know, like the 10th time you refine, maybe you'll be able to refine something. But yeah.